It feels great. The weather's much better. It's good being in Florida, and man, I'm fired up for the whole weekend and what we got going on.
Jig it out. Here I am in the place where I come let go. In Miami, the base and the sunset.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into this afternoon live. Dennis Fithian with you here on this Monday, December the 27th. Bowl week. We're ready to get things underway. That was Aiden Hutchinson down in Miami preparing for the Orange Bowl on Friday. Isn't that what everybody's preparing for now? The college football semifinals. Over the weekend, hope you had a great Christmas, watching a lot of TV. And the different times I'd watch ESPN, I noticed it on Christmas Day watching one of the NBA games. The commercials. And here it is on the crawl, college football semis, Michigan up here, one of them. And, you don't pay much or, try to pay much attention to it in the past or commercials to begin with, even though they do work and are effective. It was nice to see Michigan up there. And I can't get enough of the commercials and Orange Bowl semifinal promos with Michigan in there. But the countdown is on. It's real now. It's game week. And I know I've seen different people like they can't get enough. They're just waiting, biding their time, anything else, nervous energy, excitement. A lot of people making the trip. Some people making the trip down to Miami, down there already. Going to have a great week, and that'll be awesome for them. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. And thanks for tuning in here to the Maize and Blue Review Afternoon Live. We're here every day at 1 o'clock and then various other times, bringing you the latest in Michigan news and analysis and opinions. And just going to continue to do that into the new year. I'm wearing this coat. I didn't get it for Christmas, but I can tell you one thing. I did have a nice Christmas, but yesterday the heat went out here at the house. And so for it was over 24 hours, no heat. Now, it wasn't all that bad yesterday. The sun was shining into the windows. It's like, I don't even need heat. But man, last night, and it was too tough. Tough this morning, but it's fixed. The heat is on. I probably don't need the jacket, but I don't know. I'm feeling like I can't have enough. I'm surprised I don't have a hat on my head. But a lot of family stuff, a lot of basketball and football over the last couple of days, and just looking at the schedule this week. I mean, bowl week, not so much today, things up in the air, but tomorrow, 5 games scheduled. Wednesday, 5 games scheduled. Thursday, 5 games scheduled. And then Friday, New Year's Eve, whatever your plans are. My plans are around, 3:30 is when the Bama-Cincinnati game was. Just what I have written down. I thought it might have been 2:30, but I have written down 3:30. Around that time, watching that first semifinal, and then it's on, man. 7:30, watching Michigan and Georgia. And the question this week, and from people that I haven't talked with, but did contact or catch up with over the Christmas weekend, wishing everybody Merry Christmas. At some point, they'd say, how do you think Michigan's going to do? They give me a go blue, and what do I think is going to happen? And, I've told people the same thing. It was pretty much after I saw this matchup and saw who Michigan was going to play. Yeah. There's, you look at the opponent and, the first thing you think, yeah, man, Michigan really likes to run the ball, and Georgia's really good at stopping the run. But you know what? I think that as I looked at it, I feel like Michigan's got a real good chance in this game. I like the way Michigan's playing. I mean, how can you say you don't like the way Michigan's been playing when you watch them play the way they played against Ohio State? Kind of the way you dream things will happen. That the whole team comes together and they play in the manner that they did. They carried that over mostly in the game, in the Big Ten championship game. And I think that I think they've got the firepower to put some points up. They not only they run the ball, but it's not sneaky, but they've got big play ability on the offense. So when you go through what Michigan's identity this year, you could say, yeah, it's running the ball. Off running the ball was big play ability from this team. And whether it's going to be Roman Wilson or Cornelius Johnson or Andrell Anthony or Eric All. I mean, I'm talking about big play ability, or the trio of running backs, any of them. They've got a lot of different options when you're talking about guys that can make explosive plays. And I think Michigan can make enough, and I think the defense can hang in there against Georgia. And in fact, we know what 55 and 97 can do and where they're going to get picked in the NFL draft. Maybe not exactly, but pretty high. And, they've got the talent over there too. And I think they can create havoc for that Georgia offense. And I think that's where Michigan has the advantage is Stenson Bennett, back there for the Dogs. Yeah, he can run the ball, but, I think Michigan can, I think they can create some mistakes and some TFLs and maybe some turnovers there, get a couple extra possessions and bang that running game, play off that running game, go to your big playability. And I think Michigan deserves to get the pick in this game. And that's the way I was leaning right out of the gate. That's how I feel here this morning, now into the afternoon on this Monday, December the 27th. I feel like, Michigan has a shot to win this game, and I'm picking them to win it for whatever that's worth. Now, a lot of things going on in Miami right now with Michigan. They've had a couple of news conferences. I'll get you any of the information that's coming out of South Florida right now. They canceled a media availability. They're doing everything via Zoom, looking into a camera like this. No, I'm not in the Orange Bowl or down in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, but I might as well be for the kind of chance that the reporters have. And you can understand it when you're talking about what's going on with COVID, and COVID is factoring in, obviously, this bowl season. And the best I could tell when it comes down to what the factor will be for COVID this week, and, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine or anybody else's on actually, what could happen with any player, having to sit out or anything else. You can understand, the guessing game there, but two people that I heard from today and what they had to say about COVID and the college football playoff. One was Heather Dinich, who's the college football expert for ESPN. I heard her in an interview over the weekend, and the host was asking her specifically what were the protocols for the college football semifinal. And she was going over the cancellations, but she said to her best of her understanding is that 72 hours before the game, that there is going to be a test for everybody, regardless if you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, symptoms, no symptoms, everybody's going to have to take that test. That was her understanding. Nicole Auerbach, I heard today, USA Today, she was asked about what the protocols are for the semifinals. And she said, and she used similar phrasing that Dinich did to her best of her understanding. So I don't know if they put out the cancellation memo about what could happen about, teams forfeiting. But she said the testing protocols from Auerbach, she said it differed from school to school and from conference to conference. And obviously we have 4 different conferences in there. And she said her best understanding is there's not any daily testing, but only testing if players show symptoms. So what I take out of that is that what Wednesday will be 3 days out, that there's going to be a test for everyone. And at that point, if you get a positive test, well, then you get into some contact tracing. Then you get into, can you get 2 positive tests before the game and possibly still play? All of those kind of things. So I think Wednesday or Thursday morning, we'll find out more when it comes down to that. But those were 2 of the experts and what they had to say. Now, if you're out there saying, I know exactly how it's okay, all right, I'm all right with, hey, maybe you know a little bit more. Maybe you heard somebody else that was able to have more clarity on that. And this is not whether, what they should do or what they shouldn't do. This is, what they are doing, and so that's it. I just wanted to give you what I had heard on the protocols for COVID and how it may affect this game. So 72 hours out. Heather Dinich said her understanding is that there'll be a test of everyone. And Auerbach saying, I just heard her this morning talking about it, saying that she thinks the protocols are different from conference to conference. And there's only going to be testing if, there's symptoms there. she didn't say anything about a 72-hour everybody tests. So we'll see how but that's the best that I know there. I do have some audio. You heard Aiden Hutchinson down there in Miami. Joel Klatt, who called the last 2 Michigan games, he was on the mic in the Big House for Michigan's win over Ohio State. Then he was there the next week at Lucas Oil Field, place that Michigan's trying to get to for that championship game when the Wolverines beat the Hawkeyes for the Big Ten title. And I'll run you through some of this audio from Klatt, who did a video. It's called Breaking the Huddle. And I took some of what I thought was the most interesting audio for you. Here was Klatt talking about Michigan's offense versus the vaunted Georgia defense.
Okay, so Georgia's defense is great. That's just some of the reasons right there why they're so good. So what does Michigan's offense have to do to combat that? I think it's going to be difficult for them to run the football, which means that they're going to have to rely on this improved passing game. Cade McNamara over the middle, guys like Andrell Anthony, the freshman, Eric All, the tight end. They're going to have to win and win in big moments. Let's take.
All right, win in big moments. That's I think everybody would agree with what Klatt has to say there, except the part where the running the ball, like you might think, Michigan will be able to do. I don't think they are going to really be able to run the ball against Georgia, go over 100 yards, but they are going to continue to try. And they're certainly going to try off the bat and see what that dog defense is all about, and seeing if they're going to be able to test them and see if that offensive line can, bring a physicality and have any success there. And certainly when it comes down, they're going to have to, whether it's some of the tempo they've used in short yardage situations, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2, down at the goal line. We've seen that tempo from the Michigan offense. Maybe they'll do that with the running game. But you would think even if they're not, blasting open big time holes and making big time plays in the running game, that they'll continue to do that and maybe just hit a big one. And we saw that against Iowa. There wasn't much success there. Then Corum took off and had a big one. A big run. There wasn't much success against Wisconsin earlier in the year in the running game. Neither Blake Corum or Hassan Haskins went for over 50 yards against the Badgers, but they continued to do it. And then the big play ended up being the flea flicker to Cornelius Johnson that got him going. And, there's enough, whether it was Andrell Anthony, you think about that one against Michigan State, that throw over the middle that McNamara made to the freshman from East Lansing that went 93 yards. You think about some of those throws on the hash to Roman Wilson. Now that's McNamara's throw, but he's there's been more than one guy from Cornelius Johnson. And we went through some of these guys that can take, whether it's the top off the defense, big plays through the seam, and then even later in the year, it's gotten better as the season has gone along here. More guys in the passing game. And then when Roman Wilson went down, Anthony stepped up, and they appear relatively healthy. In fact, Josh Gaddis talked about today. He had a news conference down there in the Orange Bowl, and I'm looking at Angelique Shengelis's timeline on her Twitter, and she said this is what a quote from Gaddis. Just had it. Here it is. Here's the quote from Josh Gaddis. Quote from 1 hour ago. Blake's healthy. We're a healthy team. That's good. That's good coming from the Broyles Award winner as the best assistant, Michigan offensive coordinator, Josh Gaddis. Here's more from Joel Klatt. He talking about the Wolverines' approach in this Orange Bowl.
And I think it's going to be fascinating because Michigan has shown the ability to have some balance on offense, which is what you need against Georgia, and in particular making plays in the passing game like Bryce Young and Alabama did in the SEC championship game.
Fair enough there from Klatt. A little bit more from Joel here. In fact, let's see. We've got one more from Klatt, who says he flips it around when Georgia has the ball. Here's Joel Klatt from Breaking the Huddle.
Okay, so now let's move to the other matchup. And the other matchup, folks, I don't love it for Georgia. We'll see what happens with their quarterback situation. But the bottom line for me is I think Georgia has been just relying on their defense and thought that they were going to just do enough offensively in order to win a national championship, an SEC championship, and that certainly didn't bore itself out against Alabama. They needed more from their offense. I think they're going to need more from their offense and quarterback position against Michigan.
Maybe too reliant on that great defense all year long. And then, you know, I've looked, you know, who are the quarterbacks that they played? What are those teams that they played in the SEC? Were they really high caliber? You know, can they be had? Is Georgia a little bit of a fraud? I don't know, fraud, but being too reliant on their offense and just letting the defense pave the way, as Klatt says there, I think some of that rings true to me. And, you know, I said that was the last cut, but then I found this one right here. And Klatt was asked about his prediction on the Orange Bowl. And here's what Klatt had to say, who he likes with Michigan and Georgia in the Orange Bowl.
I think it's going to be a close game. If I had to make a pick, I'm leaning towards Michigan in that game. And I know that they're the underdog, but having been around them and seeing them and how balanced they are, and then seeing the way that Georgia struggled against Alabama, I trust the Michigan quarterbacks more than I trust the Georgia quarterbacks. This is going to be a defensive-oriented game, but I think I'm going to lean towards the maize and blue. So,
all right, he's leaning towards the maize and blue. That's my lean as well. You know, and Klatt, you know, somebody, I hate Joel Klatt. You know, he's pro Ohio State or he's pro Michigan. I don't know. I don't know if he's pro anything. He's you know, he's an analyst giving his opinion there. Maybe on the other side, people would say, you know, he's done the Michigan games, and you know, he said he's been around. And you know, when you go to a game, and like Klatt did the last two games, you know, he's talked to quarter. He's been around the building. He's been around the coaches, and you know, he's just watched Michigan play two of their best games that you know that they've ever played. So is that going to have a little bit of an influence on you? It is. It's influencing me as well. Not just, you know, it's influencing me having watched Michigan play their last two games. You know, they played fantastic. You know, that should influence you a little bit. It doesn't mean everything like they're going to carry that over, but, you know, they're playing their best football at their best time. They continue to get better. They have the talent. They look like they have the schemes. They look like they have the coaches. So, yeah, you know, it's not a sure thing leading up to Friday, but anybody, it's like, you know, the SEC speed and dominance, and I'll buy that Georgia has great talent. Like they're going to have 15, 16 guys that are going to get drafted. And when you look at the recruiting rankings and just over the last 5 years, I averaged it out. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but over the last 5 years, they 2.2, 2.3. And they had 3 times in the last 5 years the number one class. So 2.3, and Michigan's average over that same time, 12. So it's a pretty big gap. So, yeah, Georgia's got they brought in great talent. So from that standpoint, I am buying that Georgia's got great talent, and they've got a lot of NFL talent, and they've got guys that are going to be playing on Sunday. I think that's real. That is real. So we'll find out here. But, you know, I think Michigan's got a shot, and I think they got a pretty good shot. Now, we do have some feedback before I'll get to some other things. I've got some more tweets from Angelique, the Michigan Recruiting Spotlight, and the Memorabilia Minute. And here's Antoine. Merry Christmas, Antoine. And now we're into bowl week here. Antoine last week picked Michigan. Here's what he has to say. The middle of the field will be open. Georgia blitzes a lot, and Cade and the short passing plays to the running backs and tight ends will be open. Also, Georgia is greedy for the run play action fake. And he says the game is made for Cade, and the short passing plays will be open all day. Well, you know what? Cade is pretty good. You know, I think about the Eric All touchdown that went for 47 yards against Penn State, where they ran the 3 wide receivers to the left, and then underneath, you know, here was All. They were in the man-to-man. That was a short pass right on the money. Boom. You know, being able to make that play. Cade, you know, and sometimes the short passes can be the ones, the touch passes can be the most difficult for those QBs to throw. Cade does deliver that pass and is pretty accurate on that short ball there. Antoine saying that the short crossing plays that Ohio State used to hit against us when we had Don Brown blitzed all day can be done against Georgia. I'm hoping Gaddis understands this. You know what? I think Gaddis got a pretty good, you know, he's got confidence, and the players got confidence from what they've been able to do on the field, and they should feel pretty good about that. You know, you watch the NFL, and if you go back to, what was it, Thursday, watching San Francisco, and then yesterday as well, there's two things, and you see things and you think, I wonder if Michigan will do this or they'll do that. But, the one is Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver from San Francisco. They run him a lot out of the backfield. And sometimes they use it as a decoy, but a lot of times they just give it to him. And, he's very effective of running out of the backfield. And then in that same game, it was Tennessee, the Titans. They lined up at the one point. It was either Julio Jones or A.J. Brown, the wide receiver. They lined him up in the backfield and used him as a decoy. Everybody went to him, and then there was somebody that was wide open. And then, when you play the Falcons, I was watching that yesterday with the Lions, and they've got Cordell Patterson. They run him as a wide receiver. Other teams have done this. It seems like the Falcons are having the most success with it. And is it a trend in the NFL that if you got a pretty good or really good wide receiver, but you also feel like he's got the talents as a returner, and run him out of the backfield? Well, I don't know. A.J. Henning, I kept thinking, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Henning, Cordell Patterson, A.J. Henning. How about getting A.J. Henning in the backfield? Now, there's only so many carries when you're going through your running back. So you might want to make the argument to me like, look, give Henning an end around, that's an end around or two. Get him the ball that way. But for the most part, it's going to be Haskins. It's going to be Corum out of the backfield or Corum running the ball. And then, you don't want to limit Donovan Edwards. You want to make sure you're passing the ball to him and, making sure he gets a couple touches here. So, where are you going to put Henning in there? These other teams have had to, in the Falcons case, and maybe even in the 49ers case, they do that because of some of the injuries or the lack of running backs, and Michigan doesn't have that. So, how they fit these other plays in here. And, we all have our ideas about, hey, let's see Henning line up in the backfield, or, who else is going to throw a pass. I say there's been a lot of discussion because Michigan has had, different guys throwing the ball around this year, most recently, Edwards in the Big Ten title game. But, that was one that I thought of right there with Henning. So those are my 2 cents. But you know what? If there's one thing, about whether you're going to run the ball, throw the ball, or set up, I do think, because Jordan Davis is so big, they're outstanding defensive tackle, and he's in there on limited downs. He's not a 3-down defensive tackle, and they'll take him off in obvious passing downs. I think you want to pass in obvious running downs, and then maybe do vice versa when Davis is out there, so or not out there. I think that's one thing to as an easy one to take a look at that I see. But the other thing that I see is that with Michigan's big play ability, they do have to take shots down the field, and whether it's the guys that we have already talked about or talk about all the time, but you can just I like to see passes down the field, bombs if you can get the protection or whatever else. I want to see that to Anthony. I want to see that to Wilson. I want to see that to Cornelius Johnson. We've seen all three of those guys be able to sprint down the field, whether they're posts, sideline, go, anything like that. Get those guys the ball and throw it to them, And this offensive line, can they give McNamara or McCarthy the time and let these guys see if they can make some plays down the field? Let's see it, because they have that, and they've got 2 tight ends right now that are catching the ball as well. So as much as Michigan's identity, run the ball, test that out. They've got guys here that can make some plays in the passing game. So I know you see that, you feel that. I know Gaddis and Harbaugh feel that as well. But that's just one of the things I'm thinking about, heading into this Orange Bowl. I said Angelique was down in Miami at some of these press conferences, and she's live tweeting them. Gaddis said Blake Corum's healthy. We're a healthy team. That's good to hear from Michigan. Here's Venice Blue saying Georgia blitzes a lot to get pressure. Well, hit Georgia with some of those screens. A team that's got a lot of speed, and I think Georgia's thinking the same thing. When you got a Jabo and Hutchinson that can pin their ears back and get to that quarterback, is where Michigan, if we're talking about where Michigan has the decided advantage, Michigan's defensive ends against Georgia's passing game. Well, mixing up, I think the mixing up of some draws and some screens, I think was what both teams are going to do. And I know Georgia's got a really good tight end, but their backs out of the backfield. The same thing with Michigan. Who plays the blitz, or I'm sorry, who plays the screen game the best are going to be a big factor. But I'm with you on that. Venice Blue. I guess we don't need this Joel Klatt thing up there anymore. Good stuff. You can always make a comment. We'll get them right in there, and got to watch the crosses or the twist from those defensive lines. Yeah, well, you know what? Michigan's offensive line seemed to get better on that as the season went along. So I hear you. Here's more from Angelique. She says Gaddis said Michigan, Georgia will be, quote unquote, a heavyweight matchup. Okay. Gaddis calls Cade McNamara, quote, an old school junkyard dog. He's going to scrap for everything. Also mention how cohesive everyone plays on this offense. I like it. You like that too. Gaddis calls the tight ends for Michigan the unsung heroes of our offense. Blake Corum talking about his injury, says, I feel like my ankle is back, cutting, etc. There's Luke Schoonmaker, a quote from Michigan's tight end. When asked which Hassan Haskin run stands out, I like all the hurdles. Yeah, I agree with that. I like all the hurdles as well. Haskins, the one against Nebraska was the one that stood out to me. And in fact, let's see, did I write it down? Yeah, the Haskins hurdle and the Hawkins strip when it came down to the Nebraska game. That's what I'll always remember. It was Brad Hawkins able to get the strip of Martinez at the end, which preserved the 3-point win for Michigan. And Haskins in that fourth quarter did go to the hurdle, and that one stood out as well. So I'm with Schoonmaker on that. Let's see what else the Angel of the Big House has to say. Michigan and Georgia have closed practices 15 minutes today and tomorrow to the media. Both sides electing to shut down the window for photographers and close them down to the media. Hey, that's fine, considering what's going on and what these teams trying to get to Friday, with both teams just hopefully being able to have a full complement of players out there. Let's all keep our fingers crossed on that. All right, two more things to get to. One is the Michigan recruiting spotlight every day. Talk about Michigan recruiting. And today we go to the football side. We talk to the Maize and Blue Review recruiting editor, Brandon Justice. Now, there's a defensive end in Detroit, out of Detroit from Cass Tech for the 2023 class. His name is Jalen Thompson, and he is ranked 168th in the Rivals' first 250 that they put out next year. So a top 200 defensive end. And I asked Justice what was the chance that Michigan could their interest in Jalen Thompson. Here's Brandon Justice.
Jalen Thompson's a kid that out of Cass Tech, Michigan obviously just missed out on Deanna Walker, who went to Kentucky. So now you're starting to wonder, Cass Tech had this new staff come in. Thomas Wilcher goes to Michigan State, who is the former head coach at Cass and was the primary contact for Michigan for a long time when he was at Cass, was not responsible, but obviously was around during the times that Donovan Peoples-Jones went to Michigan and Jalen Kelly Powell went to Michigan at the time. Obviously, Michael Onwenu, a few others along the way as well. So you start to wonder if the new staff at Cass, maybe the connection isn't as strong or whatever it may be. I don't think it necessarily has a whole lot to do with it. Cass Tech hasn't had the same worldly success that it was having when it had those guys before. I think that is more so a byproduct of the talent they had at that time, and that 3-year span was pretty generational, and it's going to be hard to repeat that for any school. And that's not coaching. That's just pure, who we have coming through. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Thompson. I love him as a recruit, and I think that there will be some prioritization there from Michigan's side of things. And the defensive lineman that he is, they're going to prioritize it. Obviously, Michigan relies a ton on its defensive line to get to a point to where it is with the guys like Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo.
There he is, Brandon Justice, talking about Jalen Thompson, the defensive end out of Cass Tech early in the process. But there you hear what he had to say. As I take a look at some feedback that comes in, I'll sit around and talk Michigan football, basketball, anything all day long. There's some more coming through here. We left off with Venice Blue. Here's Dylan, who says McDonald, referencing Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator. McDonald has done a good job at making sure the thing a team does best doesn't beat you, a bend but don't break. I don't see why this would be different. That's from Dylan. Yeah, you know what? You always hear about Bill Belichick, head coach of the Patriots. You hear, they say, well, what makes him so great? Well, they say, well, he takes away what you do best. Makes you play left-handed. And, if McDonald could do that, what does Georgia do best as an offense? They get the ball to their tight end and they run the ball. So, play the run and do a good job against the tight end. And who's that going to fall on? I think a lot of that's going to be Brad Hawkins and Dax Hill. And both of those guys, no, they haven't completely shut everybody down, but I like that matchup for Michigan. They've got two capable guys, capable players there that can go against the outstanding tight end, the true freshman, the freshman of the year in the SEC, all SEC, their tight end from the Dogs. But good point there on McDonald. Treppa, click the thumbs up button. I don't think I have a thumbs up button. I have a star, maybe that. I give you the star there. Treppa, you have to tell me. It's the first time I've ever tried to click a star. I don't know what that is. There's a Russian bot coming through. Antoine, he would do the Bill Belichick to Georgia's tight end. Bill likes to take away your best weapon. Dax Hill on Georgia tight end, man-to-man all day. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think Hawkins can play there as well. I think we'll see a mix of Barrett, Holston, and Hawkins on T3. All right, I like it. Antoine with, that is, for those that can't see it, a smiley face. We're reading each other's mind. Yeah, there you go. We're in on it. All right, what is the Memorabilia Minute? At one point, a house I lived at before, I had a garage with the drywall out there, and I started putting all these pictures, everything that I had. And I had an entire wall. I thought, it looks pretty good. Just things that I picked up or framed over the years. And then we moved out, and I put all that stuff in the basement at this new house I've lived in. And for 5 years, everything's just down in boxes in the basement. So maybe one day, and it's a cement, could there be a man cave down? There could be cement walls. Maybe one day there'll be some, the ability to put the things up. But this was one I went down there and grabbed. And this is not a bad collection for anybody if you want to go in. And if you're looking as a Michigan fan, and all of you watching our Amazing Blue Review, there you go. When Woodson, that was just an insert out of the paper back in the day that was put into this frame, but it's pretty nice. Nice one from Woodson. Not autographed or anything, but come on. You're a Michigan fan. Any Michigan fan that's got a, whatever they call it, man cave, memorabilia wall, anything else that's a Memorabilia Minute. If you're a Michigan fan, you're going to have something Charles Woodson up. Come on. Somewhere on there. So that's the Memorabilia Minute. All right. When I go back to recruiting just for a second, Michigan, this upcoming season now, they just have 4 for the 2023 class. They have 4 commits. One of those commitments is a kicker named Adam Samaha, and he kicks for Ann Arbor Huron. Tomorrow, we are going to talk with the founder of Corn Blue Kicking, Brandon Corn Blue, who knows a thing or two about kicking the football and Michigan football and this particular commitment of Samaha. And we'll kick it around with Corn Blue tomorrow, as he is scheduled to be here on Afternoon Live. So get ready for that. I'm ready. I'm ready for this week. I'm ready. They could kick it off tomorrow, but you know what? I'm just going to take these days. Hey, the heat's on here at the household. I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks for watching here today. Remember, every day, 1 o'clock, we'll be back with you, and we got more things for you as well. So till tomorrow at 1 o'clock, thanks for watching. Good